Hello, Doc.
Hello.
How
Hi.
are you?
I'm fine. I'm
Wow, I
fine.
love your
Good
background.
to be here. Yes.
Wow, you are a citizen of the whole world.
I'm trying.
Yes, so awesome,
I'm
awesome.
trying.
It's good to be on your platform tonight as a guest that is interviewing you. So you are my guest on your platform, and I'm a guest. Wow, wonderful, wonderful.
Are you recording?
No, so what will happen is when you finish, just save it.
Okay. How do I do
Just
that?
save it. It will save
As you can see,
naturally on your Instagram. Sorry?
as you can see, I'm not a pro with
It's all
Ajala.
right. It's all right. So immediately after, right, when you say end, it will
Yes.
ask you, do you want to save it? Just save it
Yes.
onto your Instagram. Yeah?
Okay. All right.
Awesome, awesome. So let's get to business. So I'm going to introduce you. My guest tonight, her name is Dr. Toyin Ajala. She's the CEO of JBS Medicare Services, right? And they take care of aging people. They help them with their health and their well-being. She's the chairman of JBS EHW Foundation Africa. Now that's not the greatest part. The greatest part is that she's a super mom of four. She's an incredible wife, right? And she's my lovely in-law, Anomi Atata. You know,
I'm
phenomenal,
expecting. I'm
phenomenal.
expecting my money.
She loves to take care of older people. She's passionate about older people. All that she thinks about, talks about is their health, their well-being. So if you have anyone that is old, right, that needs to talk to a physician, that needs to talk to an expert, that needs to talk to a doctor, right? Toyin is top notch, Babanla top notch. So, Toyin, tonight, welcome to the FAPP series. And tonight we're talking about FAPP with aging in good health and well being. So, what is it that we're all afraid of? Why are we afraid of getting old? Why are we afraid of our health in old age?
So, thanks so much, Lanre, the Catalyst. I'm excited, first of all, to be here. Thank you so much. Thanks for honoring me like this. And yes, it's unfortunate that people are afraid of aging. Um, there are some people who are so afraid of aging. I have a conference called the Healthier Aging Conference. A couple of people actually told me that aging word is so scary. Why don't you change it to something a bit more friendly? There's a term for the fear of aging. It's called gerascophobia. I didn't know that until recently, that there's actually a term for the fear of aging. And what I found is that most people are just afraid because what they see in their minds, it's in their mind. What they see in their mind about old age is suffering, is sickness, disease, loneliness, being poor, and suffering. That is what they see in their minds. And that is why people are afraid. And you have some people who have had negative experiences. So maybe some grandparent or someone around them was old and with dementia, and in their minds, they're like, gosh, old age is dementia, old age is cancer, old age is suffering. So I think that's the reason why people get old, and people feel they'll be vulnerable, they'll be dependent on other people, they'll be sick, they'll be lonely. That is the main thing. It's just that fear of decline, believing that old age means that you're going to be in a bad place. You're going to be in a place of decline, overall decline, physically, mentally, financially. So that's why people are afraid of old age and of aging.
This is quite interesting because, someone sent me a video today, and it was a video of an 85-year-old woman that was running a fitness class.
Yeah.
Right? And she said that she only started fitness at age 50. But if you see this 85-year-old woman, she looked like a 45-year-old chick.
Yes.
Trim fit, no stretch, no overlapping skin, right? She was running a fitness class.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
so, I often say to people, right, that, it's like financial investments. You cannot expect to reap some great returns on investments that you haven't made.
Yes, exactly.
So if you invest wisely, financially, you will reap good harvests
Yes,
and returns on your
yes,
investment. If
yes,
you invest wrongly,
yes.
likewise sow. So whatsoever you sow is what invariably you reap. So
That is
because
exactly right.
this is what you do, because you're a medical doctor, you're passionate and you're committed to our aging. Please, all of us have gerascophobia, all of us, including me. So this interview is for me. What are the things that I need to begin to do right from now? What are the wrong things I need to stop doing so that when I'm 90, I'm
Yes.
95, me too, I am teaching fitness classes
With the sound mind.
with a
So
sound mind.
I'm going to break it down. The first thing is that you've got to have your mindset right. Your mindset is right. You are looking at role models like this 80, she's actually 88, someone wrote on there because somebody sent it to me, she's 88 and a half. So you are looking at this 88-and-a-half-year-old and you see her as a role model, as a vision of what you would want your own 88-and-a-half-year-old self to be. I'm a geriatrician, so I work with lots of old people. So I already have in my head a vision of what I want my old age to be. And so that's the first thing, is that you have to get the mindset right, because you have the power to create whatever you think. You have that power. And I actually think that with aging, we have a lot of power, because exactly as you've said, there are things you can do. It's in your hands. It's in your hands. Only 30% of what you're going to be like in old age is dependent on your genes. The other 70% is dependent on what you do. So I call it having a reservoir of health. You have to start from aging, unfortunately for the people listening, starts at 30. You know, when you're born, you start to grow. We call it growth until you get to 30. By the time you get to 30, it's no longer growth per se. It's you now start to your cells start to get older. They start to age. Things start to, decline. And that is when you need to start building. You need to start pouring into that reservoir of health. You need to try and build it up so that by the time you get to 70, your reservoir is full of health. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
So, first of all, your mindset. You've got to accept, we're getting older. That is life. Your thoughts create your reality. You have the power to create that good health in old age. You visualize what you want, and then you now take stock of where you are. So where you are right now, Lanre, the catalyst, you have to now think, so that 88-and-a-half-year-old, that's what you want to be like. What are you doing now to be like that? You're in your 50s now, right? I mean, I know you look like
Yes, so
you actually look like, you look good.
thank you, thank you.
You look good. So you have to take stock now. What are you doing now? What are you investing into that reservoir? What are you pouring into that reservoir of health? You take stock now. So I will start. Do you want me to just tell you what to do, or do you want us to discuss around it?
I want you to tell us, you can't tell us.
Okay.
I'm 23 years after 30, so I have double reservoir to do.
Yes, you have to start pouring into that reservoir. The number one thing is exercise. That is the number one thing, exercise. So I've started started exercising. I exercise religiously. So every morning I get on my treadmill, I do 20 minutes of a HIIT program, and I do my 10,000 steps every day. And then 3 times a week, I try and do muscle building. I try and right now I had a personal trainer, but because of COVID in the UK, nobody's allowed to come into your house. So I'm just doing what I was taught before. I'm trying to build my muscle. I'm trying to get my steps in. I exercise regularly. I'm not exercising. Someone thought I was exercising because I want to lose weight. No, I'm actually exercising because I want my mind to be sharp. I want to prevent myself from getting dementia. I want my heart to be healthy. I want to prevent myself from having strokes and developing things like diabetes. I mean, the weight is also important, but exercise is key. The number one thing is exercise. You really have, whatever you do, you have to start exercising now. Whatever age you are,
Wow.
start exercising now.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Toyin, I'd like us to also, what should we eat? What shouldn't we eat? Also, there's also an emotional element to aging as well. So I want us to look at the multiple dimensions, of what kind of emotional situations, what kind of emotional states affect us later on. Even spiritual states, I'd like us to look at it holistically, please, because I'm taking notes.
Very important. I've talked about exercise. Exercise is number one. Just move, get it in. So let's go back to that. 10,000 steps a day. So walk, nothing over. I was actually on call today. I do COVID frontline work. So I go in at the weekends. I was in the hospital. In the hospital, everybody knows me. If you want to do me, there's a thing, because I walk from one end of the hospital to the other end. I was tired. And I said, but I have to do my 10,000 steps today. The porters know me. In fact, one was offering to help me, to put me on his thing, to push me along. I was like, no, I just have to get my steps in. So exercise. Let's go to diet. We'll go to diet and then we'll go to the other parts that I talked about. So with diet, I think it's almost like flogging a dead horse. When you say things like, eat right. Everyone says, what's a Mediterranean diet? Basically, just eat your fruits and vegetables. Cut out sugar. Cut out sugar. Cut down on alcohol. Eat your, have your omega-3s. So eat your oily fish, your tuna. Try and eat less red meat. Try and eat less fatty foods. I don't believe in extremes. I'm not an extremist. I can't do it. So I eat in moderation. I eat everything in moderation. What I can tolerate, I eat in moderation. What I have found over the years is that there are certain things that I just started to moderate, like fruit juices. And after a while, I got to a point where I actually can't drink fruit juices. It's too sweet. I can't. I just started moderating it, but I can't now. You're doing the right thing. You're drinking water. My dermatologist told me 2 years ago, drink 3 liters a day. I thought, drink 3 liters a day of water. So I aim for 3 liters. I tend to get to about 2.5 on a bad day, but I aim for 3.5 liters. So drink water, cut down on alcohol, cut down on caffeine. I'm actually telling you the things that I try to do. I believed in having a glass of wine a day until a glass of wine a day became a habit that I was finding so difficult to break. And I don't believe in anything controlling me. So that became a real issue. Take a glass of wine a day. So now I drink half a glass of wine a day. I'm trying to get that. But everything has to be in moderation. Drink water, cut down on alcohol, cut back on sugar. In fact, try and cut it out. Cut it down. Try and cut it out. All these things are very addictive. Sugar, alcohol, those things, very addictive. Fat, cut down. Cut down on red meat. So have more fish, chicken, have your fruit, have your veg, cut down on the fats, just try and get rid of that as much as you can, you know? So I think that's just general.
What about processed food like white rice? What about salt and all of those things?
Salt, yes, of course, and especially because we're Black Africans. Black Africans, we you know, hypertension, high blood pressure, endemic for us. Endemic for us. Our genetic makeup as Black Africans. And it has a lot to do with the salt. There's a system in the body called the renin-angiotensin system. It has to do with moderating the amount of salt in the body. So we are salt retainers. Black Africans are salt retainers. That causes high blood pressure, so cut back on salt. Someone said cakes, meat pies, bobo, everything. Cakes, meat pies, all of that. Pasta in moderation, Bumi. In moderation. Everything in moderation. Just don't have too much of anything. So, I mean, cakes, meat pies, yes, once in a while, if you know, but just have it in moderation. I don't believe in totally stopping anything, but yes. Yeah. Salt, a definite no-no. That's also an addictive. Do you know that salt is addictive? I found it difficult to cut back on salt. I found it very difficult. Salt, sugar, and alcohol, I found very difficult cutting back on.
Very interesting.
I've had to when I got to 50. Yeah.
Wow. I'm just thinking about salt now because we always give the excuse that, yeah, the food will not taste the same. But really,
yeah,
you know, we've just trained ourselves. Yeah.
I almost look at things like salt, sugar, and alcohol as addictive, like smoking. You know, once you get used to it, it's so difficult to get out of it. Things just don't feel right, you know? So you still feel like you have to put that bit of salt in your food, you know, because it doesn't taste right. It takes a while to cut it back. So you have to go very gradually. You have to go gradually.
So Toyin, you're saying that, you know, I have a terrible habit, right? I like to eat ofada rice with dodo and ofada stew and those small meat. Then I'll sprinkle rock salt on it, rock salt, and so I have to stop it.
Tell me you only have that once a year. Let's make that once a year on your birthday. Let's make it once a year on your birthday. You have that. I hope Dupa is on here so she can hear that.
She's listening. She's always laughing at me.
Birthday.
She's always laughing at me that you're an old man. Why are you putting salt? There's a special taste, but I have to invest. I have to invest in my future. Yeah, so let's talk about emotions and spirituality. Investing, you know, and you know, what is the benefit of having a sound mind, emotional balance, and all of that?
Yeah, that is so important. So let me tell you one of the things that I find heartbreaking with some of my patients. They're lonely. Loneliness leads to depression. Depression leads to dementia. Social isolation. So I have a couple of role models in my life, a couple of aunties. They are socialites. I love them to bits. And I have found that, you know, when you look at people who have it's an investment, you know, being a social person. It's actually an investment. Because, so I'm the sort of person who can actually sit at home every weekend and not go to parties, not, you know, and just be, you know, especially now in this virtual world, it's easy to do that. And what you find is that after a while, you just have less and less connections with people. The less connections you have with people, the more likely that as you get older, because as you get older, the people around you start to diminish. So you're living in your house in Lekki, your children, okay, so you're in Lekki, you're even lucky. You are on the mainland. You're on the mainland and your children are in Lekki. So they have to cross the bridge to come and see you, so you don't see them. You know, you probably, at this time, this time is actually bad because you're not going to church because it's cold, there's COVID, you know, you're just there, you're lonely. I see a lot of lonely old people. That is one of the things I personally am working on. I do not want to be lonely in old age. I want to be surrounded by people. I said to someone yesterday, she's younger than me, she's in her 30s. She thought I was joking. I said to her, I said, you are my friend. I said, I'm actually cultivating friendships with younger people. I said, because when I'm 80, you know, when you're 80, when you're 80, it might be that the people around you want to have people in their 60s who are still coming around, Auntie Toyin. Those are people who are still vibrant, coming around, disturbing your life. You know, they'll still be having parties and things like that. They want you to come. You'll be like, oh, well, okay, let me go. Julie has invited me to a party, man, Losha. And, you know, all those things, they just keep you vibrant. They keep you going. Having children is important. I know, you know, not everybody is blessed with the fruit of the womb, and it's a bit touchy. It's one of those things, you know. So I have 4 children. So it's easy for me to say, have children, you know, it's important. I love it because at least I can already see that I'm going to have some people who will be bothering me for a long time. Probably all my life, especially as I have daughters. So they'll probably be there all my life, you know, for me. But it's important that we think now about that. It's also, that's one of the things we need to also invest in. We need to invest in relationships so that we're not lonely in old age. We need to invest in, you know what you said about the spirituality, that is so important. That is one of the blessings we have in Africa. One of the blessings we have in Africa is that we are spiritual people. So everybody goes to church. I have some patients in Lagos who, they're having their harvest. They'll come in London, doctor, I put your name down for the harvest. I'm thinking, I need to charge your children more money, because by the time I donate to your church harvest, I donate to this, I need to charge your children money because, you know, you can see, you know, on a Sunday, I actually have a patient on a Sunday, he used to send me his picture when he was going to church in his Sunday best every Sunday.
Wow. Wow.
Unfortunately, with COVID, he can't go to church. You know, they told them to stay back. Some people are defying that anyway, because what would they do? That's the only time he goes out. He goes out to church with his carers on a Sunday, every Sunday. And, you know, so for him, it's like if he doesn't go, he did go for a while and we saw a massive decline. A massive decline.
Wow.
So, yes, Agogo said you can adopt. Yes, you can.
Yes, yes. In fact, thank you very much.
Yes, thanks very much for that. Yeah.
Because that is also very important. And, you know, I like to ask the question, you know, and it's important. You said mindset, right?
Yes.
It's important for us to ask ourselves, who is my child, or who is a child? Is it only someone that is biologically yours? Right? Is it someone that is only biologically yours? Do you have spiritual children? Do you have, as a result of the work that you've done, right? And the things that you know, the investments you've made in people's lives, they've adopted you as their father, right? And you've adopted them as children. Or can you formally also adopt? And you don't have to adopt to bring into your house. You can adopt by proxy. So, what do you do with your house helps? What do you do with their children? What do you do with your drivers? What do you do with their children? Invariably, those may be the people in your old age that turn around to come and help you and are always around you, always calling you, always WhatsApping you, always video calling you. So when we talk about children, really, we're talking about,
it's quite broad. It's wide.
We're speaking broadly.
You are absolutely right. And that's exactly, I mean, my parents live in Ibadan and all their children are actually abroad. So apart from the times when I come home, you know, we're all overseas, and they've had the same driver for 60 years. You know, when you have, you know those drivers that they call you by name, they see you, it's like 20. So he comes to pick you up from the airport. You know what I mean? He's a member of the family.
Yeah.
a family member. Their gate man has been with them for the past 40 years. You know, so his family I actually look after one of his children. I've looked after one of his children for 30 years now. He's graduated from university and all of that.
Wow.
You know, so those are people that you say they bother you, but they're the people that are there for my parents. You know, they're there for them. You know, my parents are surrounded with people. And at the same time, someone like my mom, even though she's 80, she has people in her 90s that she looks after in Ibadan that depend on her. And that keeps her going. So, you know, having those relationships is very important. It's very
You know, they did a study, they did a Harvard study. And they took a couple, I think they took about 70 respondents, and they studied them over 70 years, right? To find out, you know, what happiness really means and what constitutes happiness. And they followed them over 70 years. And one of the most important things they found out was meaningful relationships that continue and being kind to one another consistently, being caring of one another consistently was key to their health, was key to their well-being, and was key to their happiness. And so what we're talking about today is very, very important. Build.
Okay.
So Toyi, what other tips are you going to give us? What other challenges do you find that aging people have, and how can we, you know, overcome all of these?
So another thing that you need to do from as early as possible is manage stress. We all need to manage stress early. So I have found, what I actually found when we came to Nigeria in 2018, I was really surprised to find so many people who had been in high-powered positions in life, who had retired and then ended up having memory problems, dementia. And I was quite bothered about it, really, because I thought, what is going on? So these are people who are, you know, so good education, high-powered jobs, and they get to a certain age, so in their 70s, and then they just have a decline in memory. And the one factor I could see with all of them was that they all had stressful lives. So, you know, that stressful lives. And I think, you know, when you have a stressful life, you're probably not looking after yourself. So if you don't manage your stress, you probably won't manage your blood pressure. You probably wouldn't have your checkups. You probably feel that things, you know, I'm so stressed. I've had lots of people tell me, oh, I'm so stressed. I'm stressed. But they're not checking their blood pressure. They're not going to the doctor. They're not having a checkup. Once you hit 40, you must go for a checkup. Just go. You're feeling fine. You're 40, go for a checkup. Just go for a total medical, top to toe medical examination. Go for a checkup. And then every 5 years until you are 60, make sure you have a total thorough top to toe checkup. From the age of 40, you really need to be managing your blood pressure. So I'd said it before, we're talking about salt. We're talking Black Africans. We're salt retainers. High blood pressure, hypertension. High blood pressure, hypertension, not managing it properly at a certain age would lead to things like heart disease, stroke, and dementia. Many people are worried about dementia. I can tell you for a fact, if you want to try to prevent dementia, exercise and manage your blood pressure.
Wow, blood pressure.
Manage your blood pressure, yes. So let me just tell you what I do. I check my blood pressure every single day. Every day, I'm like my dad. My dad has been doing that for the past 14 years. He's been checking his blood pressure every day. I check my blood pressure every single day. And I have a target blood pressure range. And that target blood pressure range is 120/80. So I try not to deviate too much from that range, from that number. It's a number, it's not a range. From that number, 120/80, I try not to go too far above it or too far below it. If I find that I'm consistently above it, I'm a doctor, I know what to do. If you're not a doctor, please speak to a doctor. Speak to someone like me. I mean, I'm a geriatrician, but then I'm still, because I know a lot about aging. I manage lots of younger people who, want to age properly. So just talk to someone about it, a medical person, so that we can manage that for you properly. It is so important. Blood pressure management is important.
So, Toyi, what's the correlation between blood pressure and dementia, though?
So if you have a persistently raised blood pressure, sustained over years, you haven't managed it properly, it leads to a condition in the brain called small vessel disease. And basically what that means is that the blood vessels in the brain get damaged. So you don't feel anything, nobody around you sees anything, but that persistently raised blood pressure is causing damage to the blood vessels in the brain. It's causing a hardening of those blood vessels. And when you get to like 70 or so, when we now do an MRI scan of the head, we now see what we call small vessel disease. That is the beginnings of vascular dementia.
Wow. What is the role of, they call it the sitting disease, people that live sedentary lifestyles. So they say that sedentary lifestyle also leads to dementia. So what is the role of a sedentary lifestyle in old age? What does it do in old age?
So it's the exact opposite. I mean, I've told you that the number one thing you need to do to have a good old age is to exercise. You've got to move. Get your 10,000 steps in. So move. We've actually found that if you find that you are sitting for more than 3 hours a day, sitting for more than 3 hours a day causes more damage to your heart and brain than eating the wrong foods. Let me tell you a story. So I used to work in Kingston Hospital. It's a 2-hour commute from home, but I loved that. I loved that hospital. I loved that job. I loved that place. I loved everybody there. I just, it was fantastic. It was great. So I worked there for a few years. When I got to 50, I decided I had to. It was heartbreaking, but I had to leave that job. I just had to leave that hospital because I knew that sitting in my car for 4 hours a day was killing me. It was killing me. Not that I could, stabbing me, but I knew it. It's there. The research, the evidence shows it. If you sit for more than 3 hours a day, it causes more damage to your body than eating the wrong foods. So you're damaging your heart, you're damaging your brain. So all these things we're talking about, that's why, exercise is key, moving is key. I try not to sit down and do things. If I had my way, I'd be walking to do this, but then it'd be too disruptive. So I try not to sit down. I try to walk around and do things, like on my phone, because we do a lot of that. We sit to do, everyone says we have to sit to, sit. When you finish eating, you stretch a bit, then move. Don't just keep sitting, So sit and move. And what they actually found was that if you sit for 3 hours, so you just sit in the same place for 3 hours a day, even if you try and now move, exercise after, they said that it doesn't actually negate the damage that is already done to your body, just by the fact that you sat down in one place for 3 hours.
Wow.
So you really do need to, after a certain time, so you've got to time yourself, maybe after 30 minutes. So when I'm in the hospital, we have all these meetings, especially now with these COVID times, lots of meetings. What I do is that once I have sat down for a while, I stand up, and people say, "Oh, Toyin, sit." I'm like, no, I'll stand. Let me stand. You know, you walk around a bit. So yeah.
All right. So two more things, Toyin, because I'm cognizant of time. Skin care and eye care, because that also, you know, those two things for aging people. What do we need to do so that we don't lose our sight? That's another fear that a lot of, you know, people have. And
Yeah.
then our skin. Yes. What do we need to do?
I think for the skin, let me tell you what I did. So 2018, I actually went to see a dermatologist in Lagos. I went to see her because she is in her 50s. She looks amazing. So I went to see her. I know her. We went to medical school together. So I just sat down and we went through the anti-aging regime. The first thing she said to me was, "Toyin, you've got to cut out sugar. Cut out sugar, drink 3 liters of water a day, cut down on caffeine. I don't smoke anyway." And she also said to me, moisturize and use a sun blocker. So Black people think that we don't need to use sunblock. I didn't think we do. You know, if you asked me like 5 years ago, Lanre, I'd say, well, there's SPF 50, all these things to block out the sun and to prevent damage to the skin. I didn't believe in it. I believe in it now. Because I travel a lot, and I found that, you know, I'd go to like a very hot place. So I'd leave the UK in the winter, I'd go somewhere, then I'd come back sunburnt. And I thought, I'm a Black person, I shouldn't be getting sunburnt. But it was because I wasn't using sunblock. So when I come to Nigeria, I sunblock. But here now, even in the UK, I use sunblock. So I always moisturize my skin, I use sunblock. But I've cut back on sugar, I drink water, I'm cutting back on caffeine, I don't smoke anyway, you know. So those are the main things. And then, of course, sleep. You've got to get your sleep. You've got to get your 8 hours sleep. You don't look like you need a skincare regime, Larry. Your skin looks perfect. I mean, you know, your skin, I mean, look all the way up to your head there. You know, everything is smooth. You don't have a single line.
Thank you.
You have to use sunscreen. Yeah, sunscreen. Yinka just sunscreen, sunblock. It's important, very important.
Wow. What is the essence of, you're talking about 8 hours of sleep when people are teaching us that if you want to make money, you cannot be sleeping, or a little sleep, a little slumber, and poverty will jump upon you like a bandit.
Did you hear what I said about the managing your stress and dementia? And I honestly believe that at a certain age, and I think I know what age that is, between 50 and 65, you've got to manage your stress. You've got to manage your stress. Between 50 and 65, many people start to see that they need to achieve that thing, because who wants to be poor? You know, you don't want to be poor in old age, isn't it? And then it's at 50 that it hits you that, man, I don't have that retirement pot, or, you know, I don't have that money, the wealth I'll need in my old age to see me through. And then people now start stressing at that point. You've got to manage your stress. That is the time to actually manage that stress. And don't chase your money, but get your sleep. You have to get your sleep.
I think one of the things that may help us is to, as a medical doctor, what does sleep do for us? So that we can understand.
Okay. Sleep repairs your body. Sleep repairs your cells. It is when you sleep that your cells, you know, so that's when everything gets to rest. That's when everything gets to rest. So I'm awake now. I'm talking to you, my mouth is moving, my eyes are open, my feet, my body, everything is alert. You know, so everything is working, everything is burning, you know, so we're burning, you know, so that cycle is like a car. You know, when you go out, you turn on the engine, and then, you know, you're burning your car knows that it's working, things are going. It's only when you turn off that engine, When you turn it off, the engine stops burning that petrol or diesel, that your engine gets to rest. For us, it's not just that it gets to rest, it also, the body gets to repair as well. Your body gets to repair. Inflammation, so there's a process. Everything you're doing, like, you know, when you're awake, when you're eating, you're talking, you're working, your cells are working. And there's a process called inflammation. And inflammation basically means that your cells are, should I say enlarged? Your cells are enlarged. Fasting and aging, exactly. That's why fasting is actually good for you. Because, you know, fasting actually rests your gut. Fasting rests your gut. Your gut doesn't work. Your gut gets a chance to repair, and, you know, it just doesn't do the work that it does when you're eating and all that. Your body just needs that break. All the inflammation that comes from working. So, you know, today when I went for my walk in the hospital, after I finished my walk, I noticed that my feet were a little bit sore. And I thought, my gosh, when I get home, I need to go and put my feet up. Because that walking, even though it's good for me, it leads to inflammation of the cells of my feet. You know, so that the inflammation needs to subside. You need time. So it's in that 8 hours that you are sleeping that the inflammation gets a chance to settle down, that your body gets a chance, the cells get a chance to repair themselves. If you don't give your body that chance to repair themselves, you get back again, okay, your body keeps going. After a while, it's going to break down. It will break down.
So some people are already asking questions. They have, I think some people have insomnia issues. Some people wake up in the middle of the night. So some people are asking, what do I need to do to sleep? What do I need to do because I have difficulty shutting down and sleeping?
Yeah, I think that is such a big topic on its own. That's going to take us another hour to address. You know, that is a big topic.
So what I'm going to say, is you have Dr. _Ajala Travels link. Send her a DM. If you are having sleep issues, because that your body is in constant overdrive, your cells are constantly inflamed, and your cells are not repairing, they are not rejuvenating themselves. It can be dangerous. It can be dangerous. Can be dangerous. Make sure that you talk to Dr. Toyin. I beg you. So, Dr. Toyin, last thing that I want us to talk about, the eyes. The eyes.
So the eyes. I mean, okay, so I'm not an ophthalmologist. That's not my area of expertise. But so the only thing I can say about the eyes is that if you do find that you are getting, you feel that you have problems with it, you have to see a specialist. But see a specialist early. Don't wait. You know, so don't wait, you know, so you're having irritation, you know, you've got a bit of a pain here, you've got a bit of a twinge there. The problem is that many people wait. They have a twinge, but they feel, oh, but I have to go for that meeting. I have to do this, I have to do. They don't go to see the ophthalmologist until it's too late, until the retina is detached, until there's glaucoma, the pressure is too high, until the sclera is too dry, so if you do have any symptoms at all, anything that you feel, just book an appointment and go to see a specialist, an eye specialist early. That's the best advice I can give for that.
Wow, fantastic. So just as you do your regular physical checkups, do your regular eye checkups too. Very, very important. Look, it's important that we recognize that health is wealth. And it is what we sow today that we will reap tomorrow. And that he who fails to plan for his old age today has actually planned to fail in his old age tomorrow. And so on that note, you know, if you've got any fears, if you've got any anxieties, if you've got any phobias, and if you've got any procrastinators, and you want to find out what it is that causes you constant anxiety, fear, and phobia. I've got a free fear and anxiety test that you need to take. Remember, we're talking about your emotional balance. We're talking about your emotional state of mind. It ties to your health in your old age. So if you're constantly, having panic attacks, you're constantly anxious, you're constantly fearful, let us find out the reason why. Now, once we know why, then there are different interventions and therapy that we can use to help you deal with those. And we're having a 2-day masterclass on the 27th and the 28th of February. And we're going to be helping you deal with all your fears, all your anxieties, all your phobias, and all your procrastination. Make sure that you register for the FAPP Masterclass. Just go to my Instagram handle at Lanre Olusola, click on the bio, and you would get the link to take the free FAPP test, the free procrastination test, and register for the masterclass. Now, if you register immediately, you get a 45% discount. So instead of paying $25K for 2 days, you only get to pay $13,500. I look forward to seeing you on the 27th and the 28th of February. Toyin, thank you very much. And one last question. Why is your Instagram handle Ajala Travels?
Because I love to travel.
Aha.
I love to travel.
Awesome. Awesome.
I've been to the 7 continents. Oh, that's why I got my map. So that map is my, so my children and I just sit there. Your brother has joined us now, or he did before COVID. And we're like, so where are we going? We map out our journey. So I've been to Antarctica. So right behind me there.
Wow.
So, yes.
So I guess a last point is incorporate fun, recreation into your lifestyle.
Oh, yes.
Incorporate fun, laughter, and recreation into your life.